Hi, I'm Danny Glover, and you're watching Joburg Today.
Waste management has been touted as the big issue facing municipalities across Africa. In Johannesburg, one of the leading cities in Africa, this task falls on the shoulders of Pikit. Mr. Dlamini, great to meet you. Big changes for the city of Johannesburg, I think for municipal entities in particular, following that resolution passed in council late last year to reintegrate municipal entities like Pikit, of which you are the managing director. What does this mean really for Pikit and for Johannesburg residents in terms of leadership and in terms of the strategy to clean up the city?
Well, first and foremost, from the institutional review point of view, I think there'll be a lot of, economies of scale. If you look at conditions of service, for example, there are variations from Pikit Up's conditions of service for staff, Joburg Water, City Power, and so on and so forth. And again, when you look at ICT systems, you look at support services. Currently, all of these entities have got their own, if you like, HR departments and so on and so forth. So with the reintegration, certainly there will be economies of scale, as well as efficiencies, if you like.
Does it make sense from an accountability perspective in terms of what the mayor wants as well?
Indeed. I mean, speaking for myself, as one of the MDs, one of the things that we consistently lamented, I've been with the city now just under 5 years, was the reporting structures. You have a web of reporting structures. You have a Section 79 committees, you have a Section 80 mayoral committees, you have the board as a managing director you have to report to, and there are board subcommittees, and then you have the Companies Act, to balance against the Municipal Systems Act.
Sounds cumbersome.
Yeah, so that will assist you a great deal.
So that will streamline the accountability process. Because I think the bottom line is service delivery.
Service delivery, and in terms of making decisions, you'll find that will also be more.
That will impact on service delivery.
Yes, it will.
Politics aside, internal issues aside, labor issues aside, let's talk about what are the current waste management challenges in the city.
Well, first, and it affects all the other services of the city. First and foremost, the evolution of Joburg wasn't designed to be a mega city. From the spatial point of view, we're all aware of that. And recently, Joburg is the most populous, if you like, metro in the country. There is in-migration, arguably plus or minus 10,000 people per month actually coming to the city. Rapid urbanization dynamics play themselves out, and it puts a lot of pressure on the infrastructure as well as in the provision of services. You have informal settlements becoming more and more dense as people move in there, and they generate waste. And we're running out of, Joburg Gauteng in itself is the smallest province, but add to that, Joburg is also, very, very small in terms of the footprint, and land is not cheap. And we cannot continue with the old way of, at disposing waste at landfill sites. As a matter of fact, the remaining landfill airspace is arguably 8.6 years. And should the economy turn and people start generating more waste, we would find ourselves, in trouble. So one of my challenges in the next 5 years is to ensure that I really, really fast track and accelerate waste minimization and diversion, strategies that we've put in place, as well as engage with the private sector as a major stakeholder in finding, if you like, modern technologies to treat waste. We have broadly speaking, 3 types of waste. We have what we refer to as organic waste, recyclable waste, paper, plastic, and so on, and we've got residual waste.
So you are looking at technology.
So yes, we are looking at technology. For example, waste to energy, if you like, plants at some of our existing sites. We're looking at signing an agreement within this 5 year where we will put up, if you like, a massive, I'll refer to it as the dragon waste to energy plant, from which you can produce energy, fertilizer, biofuels, and so on.
With regards to what you said about the issue of migrancy, the issue of rapid urbanization in Johannesburg. These are unique challenges to Gauteng because of Gauteng's economic position on the continent, etc. The challenge is to clean up the informal townships, the informal settlement areas as well. How much of a priority are you giving to cleaning that up? I spoke to a DA councillor recently who said Alexandra looks like a scrapyard, essentially. And these are the forgotten people in terms of the mandate coming through from this administration.
Just to give context and a perspective to this, I was fortunate in that in the 6 months at Pikit, we had to look at a new business model going forward into the future. Every 5 years we're required to review existing, integrated development plan, which is a 5-year strategy going into the future. And we came up with a board and together with management with what we refer to as a ward-by-ward business model, whereby we have already profiled each and every ward in the city, and we have learned from that no ward, or if you like, or community is the same. So we're going to have custom designed, if you like, strategies and tactics to deal with waste at ward level. Take Alexandra, for example. Alexandra is low income and has got the highest density in the city. Access is a problem, and of course, awareness in terms of handling of waste is a challenge. So we're looking at street furniture that we will provide in Alexandra. We will have, if you like, custom designed education and awareness strategies. We are about to complete this strategy, and we'll also look at the type of plant and equipment which we use in dealing with waste within Alexandra, for example, and informal settlements by extension. Separation at source as well. We will be targeting some of those communities, and we will, this ward by ward based, if you like, approach will target areas that are low income and high density, where access is a problem when you use these huge compactor trucks. So we're looking at having SMMEs and co-ops. Will facilitate, if you like, the organization of them thereof, and then we will empower them such that they actually deal with their waste within their neighborhoods. So you'll have this ownership. And instead of coming up with campaigns, from time to time, take yesterday, for example, it was a World Environmental Day. For me, it's like an event, So we're looking at a strategy whereby we will. I actually spoke to the mayor, and we're talking to the mayor yesterday to say we actually need to go to Rwanda and learn as to how they, Rwanda is known about its cleanliness and safety and all of that.
Sure.
So we want to go and see what is it that we can learn, adopt, come back and customize it to our Johannesburg, if you like, environment. And what we aim to achieve with it is that it's not just about safety and cleanliness, but social cohesion, whereby the communities, we facilitate the organization of communities. We deal with illegal dumping spots, for example, not just to be reactive by way of going and removing waste.
I'm going to come back to illegal dumping, but tell me what is wrong, what went wrong with regards to cleaning up the townships? Why were they left in the state that they're currently in?
Well, I don't know. The feedback, I've had mixed feedback since I've been there, pick it up over the last 6 months, in that my brief was, to stabilize and normalize operations. I do get feedback that, in some of the areas which were affected by the strike, obviously there were backlogs, and then a lot of illegal dumping spots mushroomed during the strike, because then there was no waste collected. But we're clawing that back, and there has been significant improvement if you compare that with what it was during the strike and what it is now. So I would like to believe that, we have normalized the situation. We are looking at our fleet in terms of modernization, in not having one size fits all in terms of the trucks that, plant and equipment that we use.
You were talking about illegal dumping. So what is the strategy there to fight illegal dumping? And maybe just also paint us the picture why this is such a huge problem.
I think, in South Africa at large, littering is the big problem. There is this culture, without being disrespectful, of littering. I'd like just to share one, or two incidents which I had, and I almost got into trouble, whereby you see this couple, they drive a very expensive car, they look like educated people, and so on and so forth, and they stop at a traffic light. They wind down the window, and then they just
Litter.
they just throw away whichever, KFC packaging, while they were eating in the car. And then that made me think to say, when you look at them, you don't think that they would actually do that, but they do that. So there is this mindset and the relationship that, generally we have in Joburg with waste.
Yeah.
And I can tell you this much, no amount of technology, right, will actually deal with that matter. We really have to form these partnerships at a unicellular, if you like, organism, hence this word-by-word based approach.
It's about shifting mindsets.
Yes, by
and
shifting
educating
mindset,
people.
and have custom designed, if you like, programs and not campaigns.
Sure.
Because campaigns are once off and all of that.
Yeah, sure.
So hence there's this, if you like, inclination that we visit, Rwanda. It's an African, Kigali, African city. For a change, we go and land in Africa as opposed to going and land, somewhere in the East or in Europe. So it's quite an excitement for us. I've started reading up on it. And without going into the detail, I believe that when we come back and with this word-by-word approach that we have put together, that we will win.